我が名は酒井仁。地頭である志村殿の甥。臆病ではない。
Ghost of Tsushima is the new samurai game by Sucker Punch, and similar to Death Stranding. It's my first time playing a game by them, and to be honest, I was not disappointed at all. But there's a clear missed opportunity in the game. Let's talk about it. You play as Jin Sakai, leader of the Sakai clan and the last of the samurai. After getting wiped out in a massive battle north of Tsushima, you wake up half alive thanks to someone taking your body from the battlefield and nursing you back to health. The primary objective from here on is to save your uncle, drive back the Mongols, and bring back the samurai. However, as you progress in the fight, you soon realize how difficult of a task that is, so surely there must be a way to make it easier. The story is really good, honestly. You watch as Jin goes further from samurai to ghost, and what the consequences of that choice actually look like. And it's nothing light. This game is very dark. A lot of people die, in main story and side quests alike. Even random world encounters will have you going like, damn.
I recognize you. You're Lord Sakai.
That's right.
Please, follow me. There's something you must see. This place was once a beautiful homestead. The man who lived here was a kind and good father. Or he was. Until your uncle's men killed him and destroyed his home. His family was first to find his charred remains. We'll send your head to your uncle!
Don't let him stab you in the back.
Senseless deaths. They held too tightly to the past.
Now, this is where my biggest critique of the game is. I heard that Sucker Punch was known for a gameplay mechanic where your actions directly affect the story in Infamous. When you kill civilians, you become infamous. And when you kill baddies, you become famous. And that affects the story. This mechanic would have worked even better in this game, where the more ghost gameplay you do, you go more towards the ghost storyline. But by rejecting those tools and techniques, you go more towards samurai. But the mechanic is just not present in the game. You only follow the ghost. And honestly, I really can't tell why they decided to do this. The game would have been a lot better with this mechanic in place. But that being said, that does not make this game bad at all. The gameplay is the true star here. I would almost call it a gameplay masterpiece. It's practically perfect. Let's start out with the combat. It's basically Witcher 3 but better, because you don't have magic. Let me explain. In Witcher 3, playing on max difficulty, which is what I did, isn't that terrible because of Quen spam. It's very strong. Now, in case you haven't played The Witcher 3, Quen is a spell that gives you a shield that will not only nullify damage on hit, but it knocks back everyone around you when it's expunged, and the cooldown is fast. So it's very strong to just constantly spam it and you never take damage. Ghost of Tsushima has no such handhold, if you will. The game will kill you and will disrespect you over and over until you understand the combat. The combat focuses around dodging and parrying. Sound familiar? But while Dark Souls is more dodge focused and Sekiro is more parry focused, Ghost of Tsushima is somewhere in the middle, because you unlock perks for both playstyles. But I will say, parrying ends up becoming a lot stronger mid-game and follows into the late game. So learn how to parry. Now, the one mechanic I really enjoy is the stances, which was actually also in Witcher 1, but we don't speak of Witcher 1's combat. Stances let you do bonus stagger damage to whatever enemy type it correlates with. So stone is for swordsmen, water is for shield, wind is for polearms, and moon is for brutes. Honestly, it felt so cool swapping out my combat stances to whatever foe is in front of me. Like, the combat is basically a mix of Witcher 1 and Witcher 2, but without all of the hand holding that Witcher 3 has. Because honestly, Witcher 3, it's a great RPG, but there's just like so much to pick at it, honestly. Now this is just combat. What about stealth? Well, the stealth is pretty much, if you're in a bush, you're invisible, and you can throw things to make enemies move. And there's a detection bar that fills up. And you assassinate people. It's pretty basic, but that's perfectly fine, because it'll be easier to get into, and you'll usually end up being spotted, so it's not like you can stealth the entire... Well, let's put it this way. There are camps that are easier to stealth than others. Basically, how well you stealth pretty much is how many bushes are there and how much stuff is there to hide behind, and how many camps don't have big packs that'll just detect you instantly, you know? But my point of saying this is that this is not a stealth game. This is way more action. So there's going to be plenty of, you know, action sequences to experience. Oh, and they added this into the game. Honestly, this is something I didn't know I needed in a third-person game, but I'm so happy it's here. It makes the game feel really good to play. Now, the game boasts a good amount of weapons and armor to use, and can all be upgraded in a meaningful way. And actually, every piece of gear is also pretty unique. There's only a couple things I can say that overlap, but every armor has its own role. Now, to me, the best example of meaningful upgrade is actually the knife. I'm a stealth player, so I assassinate a lot of people. At the beginning, assassinating is very slow.
Find out. No.
Takes a few seconds. But as you upgrade it, the assassinations get faster and faster until it only takes about a second. By far, my favorite thing to upgrade was actually the armor, because each upgrade enhances its appearance as well as the stats. This is so cool, honestly. This type of armor upgrade, it's just feels so good, man. Now, traveling is a major part of the game. There is fast travel, of course, but until you discover the location, you gotta go on foot. And this is another example of Ghost of Tsushima doing Witcher 3, but better. The waypoint. In Witcher 3, the mini-map and the waypoint was way overused, to the point that there's literally an auto-ride mechanic. You just hold the sprint button, and you just go. And the whole time while I'm going, I'm just staring at the mini-map. Witcher 3 is a beautiful looking game, but I'm just looking at the mini-map the whole time, you know? It was too much. Now, this is not a problem in Ghost of Tsushima. They did it way better. So here's how they do in Ghost of Tsushima. There is a world map, but when you select a waypoint spot, the wind in the world is what guides you to your direction. So this means you are still taking in the world around you, which leads to opportunities to get sidetracked just for the sake of it. The waypoint isn't on all the time either. The wind is very subtle, and if you need something bigger because you forgot, well, you swipe up on the middle button thing and it refreshes it. Honestly, I didn't think I would see another good system of waypoint since Death Stranding, but it seems like another good way of handling it has popped up, and honestly, I think a combination of Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima is how waypoints should be handled in future third-person action games. Honestly, it's just so good. Minimaps, throw them in the trash. Now, hey, getting sidetracked is actually a good time in Ghost of Tsushima. There's so many little things to do, like fox dens, bamboo strikes, lighthouse, side quests, Mongol bases, and collectibles. And probably more that I missed that are just scattered around the world. But there's always something going on. They nailed the 30 seconds. But beyond the 30 seconds, quests are really solid. Every quest feels like its own isolated incident in a sea of many. And there are quest lines that you do with your allies along the way, and those span the entire game. There are also mythic quests, or also known as tales, where you speak to a musician and he will tell you a story. Then you go out and find out the validity of it. Spoiler, they are usually true. These tales will give you armor and abilities to use in combat. Overall, I feel like I could safely call this a gameplay masterpiece. They pretty much took what Witcher 3 did and injected it with steroids. But, see, the way they decided to cut out that big story mechanic is just what, to me, it's what prevents it from taking that extra leap. If it had that mechanic, this would, no doubt, this would be, this game would be so different if that mechanic was present. When the game is done, the only thing really left to do is the remaining side quests, mapped objectives like bases or fox den, and gathering collectibles, you know, the standard open world stuff. When I finished the game, I only had a few map objectives left, and I didn't really want to bother with the tedious task of gathering collectibles, so I figured I was done. Well, not quite! As of making this review, a surprise to everyone, a free update is coming to Ghost of Tsushima that adds co-op missions to the game. And it's going to be 4-player co-op. You do missions. Each person has like a different class. Honestly, I have no idea how this will play out, but the fact that they're giving away free end-game content to continue playing the game past the island of Tsushima is so cool. And it's Oni themed. Thank you, Sucker Punch. Very cool. Now, don't worry. This game is very polished. I don't think I've experienced a single bug, glitch, or exploit. Pretty good stuff. Good story. Great gameplay, lots of content, the holy trinity of a great video game. That's all this is. Ghost of Tsushima is a great game. No, excellent game. One that I will always recommend. The story kept me interested. The combat is very engaging, and the content gave me a reason to keep playing. What more could you ask for? 9 out of 10. Second easiest 9 out of 10 I ever gave.
I've never seen a samurai fight like that. It was nothing.